So, good evening. This lesson I've titled Conscious Living, Intentional Living. And so I welcome you once again. We are happy that you tuned in for tonight's broadcast. And we welcome everyone, wherever you are on your spiritual pathway. Our mission statement is that we are a welcoming spiritual community, and we are here to transform lives for empowered living. So everything we do through these classes is to empower all of us to live that life that we have been created to live from that place of knowing, understanding of who you are. And you are able at all times to answer the question, to know that you have come here for a purpose and fulfill that purpose. That question, what have you come here to be? You're able to answer it because you're in alignment with purpose and divine. So we believe there are no accidents in life. Therefore, you are here because you are in your rightful place. And divine right action is taking place. It's always taking place. It's always in the present moment. Divine right action, it's always taking place. And because you are here, and that's a step of faith in the right direction, we know that as we listen to this truth, there will be some alignment, adjustments in our lives that would bring greater flow of good into our lives. So your presence is also a step toward the next level of consciousness. Because faith, our conviction, comes when we hear this truth as often as we can. We learn as we listen to this, we increase and raise our consciousness, our faith, as we listen to this, hear this truth always. In this teaching, we are always students. I am a student, we are still studying and learning. There's always a greater, a deeper level to get into as we practice and listen to this truth. We learn more and more about our lives and life as we align with the divine in and around us. When we come into this teaching, we begin to understand that everything about us, about the universe, is the divine at work. Everything is divine process. We are evolving along. Everything is happening perfectly. And we understand, again, that life is unfolding the way it is supposed to unfold perfectly. Basically, for your own good and for my own good. So life and consciousness are constantly unfolding every time, taking place through each of us. Therefore, there's always more to know and more to learn. And when, like I said earlier, the fact that we all are gathered here assures me or confirms that we are longing for something greater. The more we learn, the more we realize how much more there is to learn to improve our lives. There's always a greater level to go to, a greater good out there, that when we come into this understanding, we're able to take hold of it. So our classes teach us how to direct our lives and align with divine principles of greater good. We are constantly trying to keep in alignment, to be dovetailed to that divine flow. Because anytime we are in sync with it, there's so much peace, there's so much harmony, there's so much flow of good. And the thing about it is that every time, every day, minute by minute, we are presented with great limitless opportunities. And it's only when we have this understanding that we're able to take hold of these opportunities as they are being presented to us. So again, I would Dr. Greg often says that this, what are you approaching the ocean of life with? Because the universe is always presenting us with opportunities. Do you see those opportunities? Do you see those opportunities and you're still of that mindset, these good things are not for me. I'm not worthy of this. But each time we are here, we want to let you know that you are worthy of every good thing. Every good thing is yours for the taking. So by practicing these principles, what we do is that we activate this power to live abundantly. It's our right to have an abundant life. It's our right to always be supplied, not to be supplied sometimes, always be supplied and always supported. And like we often say, affirmations are one way that we align ourselves, the totality of our being, to this good. We can never do it more than enough. We have to keep affirming the good. In this empowered consciousness, what happens is that we rise above the negative influences of the world around us. Because we constantly gather to hear these truths and raise our consciousness above the problems, above the challenges. Because if we don't raise our consciousness, then we are swamped in these problems and we are swayed by it. So we begin to move toward a way of thinking and feeling in every part of our lives where we refuse to be victims. Where we refuse to do the fairness thing. Victimhood can never get you to where you want to be. In our classes, we always emphasize that we are powerful co-creators of our reality. We are active participators in this life. We create by our thoughts, by the things we allow into our being, and by the things we speak. That's why we always talk about your affirmations, your declarations. Your words are powerful. We're talking about living a conscious life. We know not to see ourselves as powerless and at the mercy of external circumstances. What we gather each time is to let you know the power that you have, what you have been created with, that every other thing is subject to your commands. Anything that is happening to you that you do not like, it's because you have allowed it. So when we allow external circumstances to dictate our life experiences, what we have done is that we just willingly give our powers away. So our life outcomes, our happiness, our success is dictated by these factors. We are controlled by those external factors. But everything we do here is to remind you of who you are, that you can take control of those powers by your thoughts. It's only a thought that we say, and a thought can be changed. So when we shift from victimhood to empowerment, what we just do is to transform our experiences and outcomes. You're not a victim of any circumstance. Circumstances are subject to your control. We have this magic wand and we can always move it in any direction we want. Use it. It's there. If you don't use it, it's dormant. As we use it and practice it, we learn and perfect how to do it, use it. That's what the work we do as practitioners. So through this teaching, we know enough to be the guardians at the gate. We learn to guard what we hear, what we see, and those external circumstances that would always dictate for us. We guard our hearts with all diligence. We are to be vigilant about what we allow into our consciousness. That's really very powerful, because from that conscious state, consciousness, we create our reality from our thoughts, from the totality of all the things we allow, we see, we hear. That's the base of our consciousness. And from that base, we create. So we are to be the guardian at the gate. It means to be selective and intentional about our thoughts, our beliefs, the things we entertain. And that's where we're always talking about ridding ourselves of every negativity. Because if we don't do that, then we create from that standpoint. And you can imagine what will be created from that standpoint. Everything down. Sickness, ill health, lack. Like I said earlier, we do not in this teaching go into the fairness thing or wishful thinking. It won't take us anywhere. We come from that place of knowing and we declare the truth of our being. And what is that truth? You are whole, you are complete. You are abundant, I'm abundant, I'm prosperous. You are ordered, your steps are ordered. That is the truth of who you are. We know that what we consistently think about manifests in our lives. So we want to think about everything good, everything pure, everything love, joy, great. So we take charge of our thoughts as often as we observe unwanted trends. We live in the world, we are distracted often, but as often as we get distracted, we should also know to change those thoughts. That's the work we do. We are constantly, that's why every Thursday we always ask, what has it been like being you? Because we want to start thinking about the processes, the things we think through. What in our whole day, how has been the trends, our thinking? Has it been going up or going down? We know also to check in with ourselves regularly. Take that time of checking with yourself regularly. Observe your thoughts and feelings. And make necessary adjustments. We always talk, that's the science of the mind. We have the power to change our thoughts. So no matter what the opinions are out there, we already know that we can direct our thinking and experience life from that place of all is well. All is well. We do not just declare it because we want to say it. We say it because we mean it and we want it to manifest in our lives. All is well. We say things until we feel it. We affirm until we feel it. Keep affirming the good. Keep affirming wholeness. Keep affirming completeness. It may not make sense initially, but as we keep doing it, we begin to feel it and it will manifest. For us, it's always about the greater good, a greater manifestation of this power within us. We're talking about conscious living. It's about living and embodying the I can do mindset. We do not neglect the circumstances around, but we know that In spite of this circumstance, all is well. And we are always, through this understanding, working to appropriate that wholeness that we are. Always. Because our lives would always reflect that dominant thought pattern. So wholeness is who you are, and anything that does not bring about wholeness, you want to take that off your thoughts. So what we think about life, accept, and embody is what shows up in our lives. And what we do in this teaching is that we must first of all recognize these limitations come from where they come from. I mean, that's why we always talk about writing things down. Where did these beliefs come from? From family, beliefs of the past. How did you get to begin to act that you can't be prosperous? It must have come from somewhere. It must have been a trend you observed, maybe growing up in the past. How come we have taken on that knowing, understanding, belief that we cannot be healed? Often they are born from past experiences. They are born from societal conditioning or self-imposed restrictions. And all these things are external to us. And sometimes, in almost all cases, these things will manifest as fear. We say fear is false evidence that appear real. They are not the truth of who you are. They manifest as doubt, lack of confidence in your abilities. And that's why we always talk about affirmations. I can do this. Speak it as many times as possible. Empower yourself with the words that you speak. Always. And that's why we always talk about writing our own affirmations. Write it out. I've heard someone in the audience say that she records her own affirmations and plays it to herself. I like affirmations. I say it as often as possible. There are some affirmations that I have here. I recognize and release all limitations from past experiences, self-imposed restrictions. I release all of them. I am free to create my path. Affirmations, some of them are like clearing the way for good to come in. If our hands are full, we can't take hold of new things. So we are constantly removing the old for the new to come. I am constantly growing and evolving. And as you're saying it, you're speaking life into your being, and you see that happening. Every day I become more aligned with my true self and highest potential. In this teaching, we recognize and we know that age is just a number. You can do great things at any age. I am worthy and capable and deserving of success. That is one area we know we always struggle with, about being worthy of good. But you are worthy of every good thing. And we want to constantly release all doubt and embrace a mindset of possibility. I am enough just as I am. You don't need anything extra. You are so enough. So the first step to overcoming these limitations is awareness. We want to be aware. We want to identify these limitations, the things that slow us down. We want to be aware of the patterns to challenge and transform them. It can only be when we recognize, when we know, when we are aware of what's causing the distractions. And we can change it. Our past experiences often shape our perceptions and beliefs about the world, about ourselves and the world around us. What are your beliefs? What are your experiences? The fact that you've experienced a certain thing a number of times doesn't mean it won't change. An instance, someone who has faced repeated criticism as a child may grow up believing they are not good enough. That's a belief, that's not the reality. This belief can limit the potential and prevent them from pursuing their dreams. What have you been told in the past? Whatever is past. And we always, through this teaching, want to be in the present moment. In it, there is so much power. It truncates every belief, every past. Again, when a person faces such repeated criticism as a child, it can lead to believe that they are not good enough. That's a belief, and we are here to tell you that you are good enough. You are worthy of every good thing. You have the power, and it's your choice to decide that those beliefs can't hold you down. And this fear stems from when you want to get into anything, you're now fearful because of things that you have been told in the past. It also leads to negative expectancy, like we have positive expectancy. So you're getting into something because of these repeated criticisms and fear, you're already anticipating to fail, not to succeed. You get into that and automatic negative thoughts. It just naturally comes. That's what we say. But as natural as it comes, we can also naturally change it through this teaching, through this understanding. That's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. Again, I like what we always talk about in this teaching, because it's laid on principle, and principle is not subject to the past or precedent. The fact that it's been happening repeatedly, you've had seemingly failures in the past, does not mean it will continue. When you understand that when you apply these principles, every past is truncated. So whatever your past has been, whatever the story has been, it can be changed once we come into this teaching and begin to practice it. The past has no hold over your life, over your situation. Once we are willing to do the work, a change is possible. So the only true thing is possibility. That is the only confirmed thing when we practice this teaching. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Whatever has happened is the past. And when we come into this understanding, this teaching, We learn how to rid ourselves of those negativity, those past beliefs, those strengths, and walk into newness of life. Like we said, it's new every time. We can change our life, the story, any time of the day. Dr. Greg will often say it's entirely up to you. It's your choice. What you want the outcome to be. He often also talks about the unexamined life is not worth living. And that's talking about self-reflection, introspection, going deep within, quieting ourselves, and examine our thoughts, the trends, because from that place we can know how to make amends. We want to have those quiet moments. We know that in quietness and in confidence is our strength. So much can be achieved when we quiet ourselves down and align ourselves with the truth and be in the present moment. There will always be inner peace, clarity when we are in quiet moments, in the present moment. You know how much our lives will change when we always pause to reflect and be in the moment. We're talking about conscious living. It's not just about hearing it. We'll learn to put it to use. So we want to affirm our strengths and potential as often as possible. What it does is it will help rewire our brains to focus on our abilities rather than the shortcomings. If we have something that prompts us to think and focus of everything is possible, to focus on I can do this, to focus on who you are. I am whole, I am healed, I am complete, I am abundant. Out of this, only good will come out of it. If we have anything that will constantly remind us of the truth that we are, it rewires our brain cells. I mean, we do not have that natural tendency of drifting or is the fairness, victimhood. The natural tendency is to know that you are supplied and supported. I'm coming out of this victorious. So each day we affirm our strength and embrace this limitless potential, knowing that we are empowered to achieve greatness. So what does that happen? What does that do? That anytime things are not working out, you're seeing the outcome that you're not expecting, you just know that that is not who you are. Because you have wired your brain to know that your natural tendency, it's abundance, it's greatness, it's good, it's powerful, it's wholeness. So through this power within me, I can create the life I desire, I succeed in all my endeavors, and I overcome every challenge. I have an example here. If you often think I am not good enough, you counter it with I am capable and worthy of success. What about saying 1,000 times in a day, I am successful? Whatever we think, we attract. So again, the first step towards change, conscious living, is awareness. Then the second step is acceptance. Listen to this. We recognize the patterns and beliefs that hold us back. The patterns that prevent us from challenging and changing. We are aware of it and we accept it. This pattern has given rise to what we are seeing. We are aware of it, we accept it for what it is. Then the second thing is, without awareness, listen, we remain trapped in the cycles of behavior that limit our potential and prevent personal growth. So we are aware of what's happening. If we are not aware, we keep repeating that trend and we keep seeing the same result. We get stuck with repetitive behaviors, giving rise to the same outcome. That's what happens when we are not aware of this. However, once we become aware of what causes it, like Dr. Greg often says, when we are aware, then we can move into acceptance. Acceptance is the key to all positive changes. We are aware when we accept it. So, through this teaching, we become aware of the limitations, accept them as a part of the current reality. Be mindful here, acceptance doesn't mean resignation, no. It's about acknowledging where we are so we can take informed steps. We've gotten aware, we've accepted this is what it is. So we understand these patterns and beliefs that hold us back. Then we embrace the reality of these patterns and beliefs without judgment. Oh, it's happened, we don't judge ourselves, we've done the best that we could because we want to change it. All we are here is about the change. Then we take deliberate steps to challenge and change these limiting factors. We are aware of it, we accept it, then next we take deliberate steps through these principles, through this change, integrating awareness and acceptance into our journey creates a solid foundation for meaningful transformation. That's again what we all want to do, to change, to transform our lives for empowered living. We don't play blind eyes to the situation. We confront it with the truth. This is no longer who I want to be. So to live an abundant life, we want to develop a growth mindset, an all possibility mindset. It doesn't just come just like that. We have to keep practicing, declaring, affirming the good in every situation. Before we know it, it becomes automatic for us. Even in the trouble situation, we are looking out for the good, because there's always good in every situation. There are no accidents. Everything is working out for our own good. When we adopt a growth mindset, we shift our focus from fear of failure to embracing the learning process. Like we said sometime in the lesson, failures, if we begin to see failures as experiments, because what we also do here is to change our language. We have not failed. We have just learned another way not to do it, or another way to try it. Again, studies also reveal that those who embrace this mindset are more likely to succeed and persist through adversity. And what is that mindset? The all possibility mindset. The I can do mindset. I am not a failure. I've only learned another way not to do it. There's always a learning. It's a learning curve. We're always learning how to do things. Again, another way what we do is by reframing failure as a stepping stone to success. We can reframe it. I've not failed. This is not failure. It's just a stepping stone for success. We can overcome the fear of making mistakes and take bold steps towards our goal. Because when we take it that is a failure, it just comes with all the spirit to make us downcast, and we will never want to try again. We always, in this teaching, want to reframe the situation. We want to always see the glass as half full and not from that perspective that it's empty. We're all about shifting perspective to view every situation positively. Because if you understand the long thoughts of the universe for you are thoughts of good and never of anything bad. So when you are going through a situation and you have that in mind, in this situation, I can only come out victorious. That is you positively expecting good, and that is what we will see. The normal mind would always go, I can't believe, in case of someone that lost a job, I lost the job. This is terrible. I'll never find another job as good as this one. That would be the trend. What most people will want to. But in this teaching, we want to, from that place of knowing and connection with Source, we see a situation like this differently. We acknowledge the reality, which is losing a job, that is challenging, but also an opportunity to find a role that better aligns with our passion and strength. We can always change the flow of negativity and see it from another perspective of all is possible. And what this does is that it stirs up and gives hope, optimism, excitement. For every situation that we are going through, if we sit down and analyze it, we can always change the languages and reframe it and see it from a positive perspective. And that is what we do from this teaching. There will always be a positive angle to view it from that place of half full. If we see it as half empty, all we do is draw those negativity into our being. So we want to always reflect again on what we are grateful for in the current situation. You're going through a situation, it's overwhelming, but you decided to just put that aside and begin to be grateful for the good sleep. Be grateful that you can open the windows and look outside. Be grateful for the delicious meal. Be grateful for every situation. What readily comes to mind again, grateful for an opportunity that we have to gather to discuss this truth, an offshoot of COVID. We can stay anywhere all over the world and tune in. There's always good in every situation. Ours is to seek it out and follow it. We are always supplied and supported. I am always supplied and supported. I am always directed. I know that I know what to do in every situation. I have wisdom, I have understanding, I have knowledge. We can do all things. If you believe everything is possible, so we want to live from that place of knowing that all is well. In spite of the situation before me, all is well. Everything, it's an orchestration by the divine to bring me to an enlarged place, to an abundant place. I am whole, I am complete. So thank you all for being here tonight, and know that you can do all things if you believe. Many blessings to you all.